Hey everybody, it's MinsterMike. Today we're going to be talking about Genesis, starting at the beginning, and I'm going to be doing a quick little overview, rundown of Genesis, probably chapter 1, 2, and maybe 3. So, in the beginning, God created the heavens and then the earth. And at this point, the earth was just kind of like a blob. It wasn't really what we know Earth is right now. And then God said, "Let there be light." And then there was. And he looked at it and he was like, you know what? It's pretty good. The next day, day 2, God said, "Let there be an expanse between the waters of the surface to the waters of the heavens," or something like that. It's a little difficult to understand what it's talking about there, but separation of the heavens or the sky from the surface of the earth. Basically, atmosphere. That's all I can really say. So he looked at it and he was like, you know what? That's pretty good. Third day, he made oceans and land separate into their own little continents and oceans, because it was just kind of like free form, whatever. I'm apparently assuming. And then also, he was like, you know, I really do like plants. Let's make some of those. Bam! And then it happened. God looked at the plants and he was like, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Day 4, God says, you know what? Let's put some stars in the sky, so you can do stuff at night, and it looks cool. It's important to note that all those other stars are other galaxies, other solar systems, giant balls of flaming gases, He's just like, I'm going to make the rest of the universe. And he looked at the rest of the universe and said, you know what? It's pretty good. 5th day, let's make some fish and birds, because you gotta love fish and birds. And a whole crap load of fish and birds appeared. And he made them. He looked at those fish and birds and said, you know what? That's pretty good. Day 6, God's like, well, fish and birds are going to get pretty lonely. Let's make some other animals. And all the creatures that are on land, he just kind of like, bam, I'm going to make all of you. But he didn't stop there. That wasn't good enough. He decided to make man. And that probably wasn't the best decision, but, So God made man and woman and basically just like let them loose. So God looked at everything, humans included, and thought to himself, not bad. It's pretty good. Day 7, he sat back, he rested, enjoyed himself, just looked at everything, enjoyed it. He was pretty impressed with himself. Chapter 2. Chapter 2 is more detail about the creation of humans. And that starts obviously with Adam. So because there was no one to, as it says, till the soil, or basically just keep things in check and do what men do, grow stuff and kill things. There was no one to do that, so God grabbed up some dirt and whoop-ah! You're a dude now. Now it actually describes where Eden was. It's at where 4 different rivers meet. I have to read them because I don't remember them off. I know Tigris, Euphrates, which are still, you can go to those rivers. The Pishon and the Gihon, I don't know if I'm saying those correctly, but they don't, due to our current geography, they do not all meet in a place that we would consider Eden to be ideal at. And there's a lot of hoo-ha about where it could possibly be, but there's no way it would survive if God didn't want it to have survived in any sort of recognizable state. So Eden is full of all this awesome stuff, and God's like, have fun, but there's 2 trees. One, there's the tree of life, eat it and you live forever. One's the tree of knowledge of good and evil. If you eat of that, you will surely die. Then God said, it's not good for a guy to be all alone. So go to sleep. Go to sleep. And I'm going to yank one of your ribs out and make a lady out of it. Adam was naming all the animals and stuff, and he named her woman because she's made of man. Hence, man is the root of woman. Get it? Yeah, it's pretty clever. And then Adam and Eve got together and they basically formed the model for future generations as far as what a marriage is and what a marriage should be. Chapter 3. Now this is where it gets interesting, or terrible, or cool. The serpent was hanging around Eve, and he's like, hey, so did God say you're not supposed to eat any fruit of the garden? And Eve responds, pretty much, no. He said we could eat everything except for the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And the serpent's like, you will not surely die. It's a knowledge of good and evil. You'll just learn stuff. God doesn't want you to learn. So she was starting to get convinced. She saw the fruit of the tree and it looked pretty good. So she's like, alright. Now it's important to note that Adam is actually right there. And we know he's right there because she just like basically hands him an apple. Or probably like a fig type fruit thing. Hands one over to him and he chomps down on it too. He just kind of was watching it all happen. And it's kind of blame is put on Eve for the downfall of humanity, but actually, I mean, Adam was standing right there, and Eve was never told not to eat the fruit. God told Adam, and it was left up to Adam to tell her. So he did tell her, but he just did not hold up his own. So they both ate the fruit, and their eyes were opened, and they saw nakedness, and they were embarrassed. And they heard God coming up, and they're like, oh crap, he's gonna see my thingies. So they hid in the bushes, and they're like covering themselves, and God's like, hey, where are you? What are y'all doing? And they're like, we're embarrassed because we're naked. And he's like, who told you that you're naked? Who told you what naked is? And you know, God figures it out because he did already know. He was just kind of letting it play out. And basically kicks them the crap out of the garden and says, I'll curse your livestock, I'll curse the ground, make it hard to grow things. Childbirth is going to suck. I'm going to put amnesty between you and your spouse, and for all future generations, and a crap load of other terrible things are going to happen because of you. And then God, being God, he's a nice guy. He's like, but you know what? I mean, that's your own fault, but I'm still nice. Here's some clothes. He made them out of some animal skins, basically, I guess, teaching them how to cover themselves. But the tree of eternal life is still there. And so he's like, I gotta kick y'all out, and I gotta make sure y'all can't get back in. So, bam! Flaming sword at the entrance. So, yeah, they can't get back in. And that's probably going to be it for this episode thing. That's chapter 1 through 3. I'm going to try to kind of breeze through more things, but I mean, this is Genesis, is where the foundation here. I'm not going to skip over too much. Those are pretty much all the details there. And join us next time for babies. Adam and Eve babies, Cain and Abel. Yeah, it's fun. Hope to see you next time. This has been whatever you want to call this, Bible summarizing with MinsterMike. Yes. Catch you later.